4dmbox.com here, and we're going to be checking out this video by Sebastian Giorgori. I don't know how you pronounce your name. Sorry. From $1,000 to $8 million. My entire story. I thought this would be a pretty interesting video. He seems like a really young guy, and to go from $1,000 to potentially $8 million, which, if that's true, that's pretty awesome, right? Like, that's an amazing feat, no matter which way you look at it. So let's check this out.
From $1,000 to $8 million in like 6 years.
In 6 years, $1,000 to $8 million in 6 years. Now that is amazing. Again, if that is true.
Something. But my name is Sebastian Georgiou. Welcome to my video. Welcome to my channel. Most of you probably don't know who I am because I intend for this video to go viral. And in this video,
And his hair is very wavy. Props to him too.
going to tell all of you guys about exactly how I went from $1,000 to $8 million. Now, keep in mind, my parents are from a communist country. They're from Romania. They moved.
And what's really cool is that a lot of people who are either descendants from people who have lived in communist countries or people who escaped communist countries themselves tend to be very money oriented, meaning they know the importance of money.
Here in 1988. They came with absolutely nothing. My dad, he worked hard when he moved here and he built up some money, but he lost everything in 2008. My parents got divorced and my mom was uneducated and did not speak good English. So she worked at Wendy's. She worked as a maid, cleaning people's houses, and she received very little income. We grew up in Detroit with her and my three older siblings living in a 2-bedroom apartment in a pretty ghetto area, not being able to afford much, obviously. So
hopefully he's taking care of his mother by now. I'm guessing he probably has, but I hope he has, because, to have like a single mother working so hard for their kids, well, for her kids, when she's not really making a good income, like, that's pretty hard to see, right? Like, that's pretty hard to watch, especially like if you're a kid and you're watching your single mom working so hard just to take care of you. Once you make it, hopefully you end up doing something to help her out.
that's the starting point to now. I'm 23 years old.
23 years old at $8 million. Now that is amazing. And that, if that is his car, the Audi R8, I think that is Audi R8 V10. Yeah, V10. That is a nice looking car.
I have my dream car, my Audi R8 V10 Plus,
V10 Plus. Okay. I was close.
completely paid off. My truck completely paid off.
Now I do like that. I do like that his, basically his toys, the V10 Plus, his truck is paid off.
I'm building my dream house. It's a $3 million house.
Building his dream house. Okay. That's a nice house.
That's completely taken care of and done. I have a 7-figure.
Okay, so that means that basically his V10 Plus paid off. Love that. His truck paid off. Love that. His house, his dream $3 million house, paid off. From what it sounds like, that's amazing. Because I want people to stay away from debt as much as they can. Like, I don't want people to have debt at all, because the amount of money that you're putting money towards debt is directly going against growing your net worth, right? Like, every dollar that you spend on interest is not going towards growing your net worth.
Figure company, a Google Ads agency actually, which I made another video on. And I don't know, this is stupid, but like, I fly first class everywhere. Like, I travel a lot. I'm able to spend a lot of money and just do really cool things. It's like buy watches and stuff. I paid off my mom's car. I bought my family a trip to Hawaii. And so it's great. It's been fun. And the journey from where I started to where I am now was an incredible journey. And I'm so excited to tell you guys about it. Let's just get into it. I just wanted to give you guys an update. So it all started in like 2005 and 2006. I had this idea that
So the starting point, I have to be wealthy. This sucks. The dream job, first taste of money, it got crazy, something new, the big change. $36,000 in a day, that's pretty nuts. The disease, promising future. Now that the disease seems kind of interesting.
into my mind, and it was this idea that I needed to be wealthy. This was given and programmed to.
So I have to be wealthy, programmed into me since childhood. By the way, his video already is pretty nice. I like this video.
To me throughout my childhood, because I would constantly hear my
mom always said to me,
say over and over and over again, Nu
avem
which is
Nu avem ban. Okay.
We don't have money in Romania. Nu avem ban. So like, it haunted me, and I noticed.
And this is the thing, like, for anyone that is like a descendant of an immigrant or is the descendant of anyone from not from the United States or from like the Western countries, your family's viewpoint on money is going to be vastly skewed than people who grew up in these Western countries.
That a lot of the times growing up, like kids would ask me why I don't have cooler shoes or different clothes, and it would be because we didn't have money. And I remember like I couldn't even afford, when I went out with my friends, my mom couldn't give me money and I couldn't buy food, and they just looked at me weird. So there was a lot of embarrassment associated with the fact that we didn't have money growing up. And so I wanted to fit in, and I wanted to be a normal person, a normal kid, like any kid does. So from a very young age, I wanted to be wealthy. I wanted to make a lot of money because I understood the pain that it caused me, and I saw what normal, I guess, was like. That's when it started. That's where it came from. I remember.
I will say this, like having more money in the bank, just like money in the savings account, right? Like having as simple as like an emergency fund in your bank account will free you up and solve so many problems for the everyday person.
Remember one time a couple of years later, I was actually in 6th grade or 7th grade, and the electricity in my house went out. My mom couldn't afford the electricity bill, and like I understood what was going on at the time, but since we didn't have electricity, I couldn't use the stove to cook food, before school. So I actually lit up a candle and fried an egg on the candle, which took forever and it didn't really work out. And I think
Yeah, it most likely did not work out. You probably got sick from
I
it.
ended up throwing it away anyway, but it was just something that stood out, and I remembered. I was like, damn, like I can't even fry an egg. Like this sucks. So yeah, that's one story that stands out a lot to me, and it's a story that some of my like OG fans might know, but I wanted to bring that up again because I think that that's a good staple in my childhood. Like from there to here, it's great.
And like I remember a time when I was a kid where I was going to get like fast food with my dad, and I'm like a super young kid, and we used like dimes and quarters to end up like buying a fast food meal, right? Because we didn't really have the money to do so. So, you know, I love spending time with family, but at the same time, it's like you look back on it and you're like, wow, like one is a little bit embarrassing, and then two is just like it's depressing as well.
Like it's cool. I remember at some point during that age, I wanted to become a neurosurgeon because neurosurgeons make a lot of money and they help people. I remember reading that they make like $350,000, $400,000 a year, which at the time seemed like quite a lot of money. So that's what I was going to do forever. I actually ended up like drawing art about it and really getting into it. I had made a decision that eventually, since I'm gonna have to pay for my own college, I'm gonna have to be a nurse, and then I'm gonna save money, pay off my debt, and then eventually put myself through med school and then go and become a neurosurgeon.
And that's technically not a bad plan. People could do this and get it to work. The only thing is, one, you have to go to college. You have to actually go through college. You have to actually pass college. You have to actually pass all the certifications to be a nurse. You also got to save up the money. You also got to make sure to pay off debt or not even get into debt in the first place. You actually got to be accepted into med school. And then you also got to actually get accepted into a neurosurgeon program. By the way, by the end of all this is probably like 14 years of schooling. Like, it's crazy.
So that was my plan from before I was even in high school. Now, fast forward a few years, I go to high school, I go through puberty and whatever, make some friends, and I get my first job at Taco Bell and KFC. And I start
Taco Bell and KFC. And that's an interesting combination.
making about, what is it, like $8.25 an hour or something like that. I remember my first paycheck was $90, and
Dang, $90 for your first paycheck? That's gotta be depressing.
I was like, damn, like I can go and buy like a shirt from Vans. I can go and like buy new shoes. Like it was incredible. Such
Well, I mean, I guess he liked it. I mean, because I guess if you didn't have like any money at all before the $90 actually looks good. But think about it, it's $90.
a good feeling. So I got my first taste of money, my first lick of it at Taco Bell, and I was like, I want more of this. I didn't work there for very long, and I heard about a car wash job where people get paid a lot in tips. So it's the same hourly, but you get tips every day. So I went to the car wash and I started vacuuming my life away, making like, I think it was $8 or $9 an hour, and then walking away with like between $20 and $50 every day in tips. So making better money there. I did that.
And by the way, the whole like tipping service industry is actually pretty crazy because I mean, there's like a lot of like girls who work at like Hooters or like things like that where they are able to bring in like hundreds of dollars per day in just tips.
After some time, I was continuing to save up and grind, and then I went and got a sales job, like a auto glass sales job at the car wash. So I was selling people's windshield. And now at this time, I was making like about $300 to $500 per week. So I was still doing pretty good for my age. I was still in high school at this time, but
$300 to $500 per week as a high school student is honestly pretty good. There's some, the sad reality is that there's some people who are adults who may not even make that now.
I was saving up everything and trying to build up as much money as possible. My only goal was to get a G35 so I could show off to all my friends, and that's eventually what I did.
And by the way, that is like the classic car for anyone who like likes racer cars or like likes fast cars that actually still look kind of good, still kind of look like you have money but you don't really got any money. Like that's one of those things. Same thing with like an old Cadillac CTSV. Like some people like those cars and they look good, but they look good enough to make people on the outside think that you might have money, but the reality is you're inside it and you're like, wow, this thing is like 15 years old.
End up buying. So I was very proud of myself that I was able to get that car in high school. And I was definitely like, like kind of a cool kid because, the G35. So I suppose that's where like my love of attention, I suppose that's where it comes from. Anyway, I started saving enough money and then eventually I had enough to flip cars. Now, just a quick thing, I'm skipping a lot of stories. Like I sold muffins at school. I flipped go-karts. I worked a caregiving job as well, but I'm just skipping those. They aren't as interesting. Anyway, fast forward, I started flipping cars. So I actually had 9 cars by the time I was 19. I was doing pretty decent with that. Now here's a checkpoint in my life. This is like the introduction
And that's an interesting side hustle.
to my life right before everything starts to get crazy, right? So at this time in my life, I probably had between like $5,000 to $10,000 to my name. I had
Which is actually extremely good for someone who's like a high school student and all that kind of stuff, right? Because I mean, most people in high school, even if they're working something, spend all of their money. So they basically are either zero net worth or negative.
tiny bit of experience making money, and I was just about to discover dropshipping and real estate and all that stuff.
So basically, I'm guessing he got into the whole drop shipping craze and probably did pretty well with it if he ended up eventually getting to like an $8 million net worth. Because I think a few years ago, I mean, Shopify dropshipping was like massive, especially with like the ads from, I believe, Alex Becker. Alex Becker was like all over the internet, like doing all those Shopify ads.
Was just about to get into that world, that realm. So I go home and I run into Graham Stephan on YouTube. So Graham Stephan is a real estate agent. He sells homes, saves the money, buys rental properties, rents them out, and collects passive income. And I was like, yo, I want to do that. I don't actually want to work. I want to have freedom to do whatever I want and be rich.
And the thing is, like with Graham Stephan, right? He makes good personal finance content. But the interesting thing is, like, he made the majority of his money from selling real estate, not necessarily owning real estate, right? In terms of like the whole like passive income sort of thing, right? Like he's made, I think, over $1 million probably in his real estate career. So that's where he made his like basically first million. Like how he got his first million is actually by like literally in sales. So it's just something to like keep in mind, right? Like you still need to make a good amount of money, right? Like you could still spend a lot less than what you make because Graham Stephan is a very, very cheap person. But you still need to make a good amount of money and spend way less than what you make so that you could end up putting your money into like investments like real estate or anything like that.
Like that's what I want. That's what everybody wants, right? So I discovered that and I was like, I'm going to be a real estate agent, like pause on med school, straight up real estate. So after I made my decision, I dropped out of college, which I had enrolled in 2 weeks prior. Now I go to real estate school and I'm like, yo, when I'm not selling a house, how am I going to make money in the meantime? So I go online and I'm like, how to make money online? Boom, discover dropshipping. Dropshipping just...
I think basically every single person that has ever wanted to make money has literally typed in how to make money. How to make money online. How to make money online as a teenager. How to make money online as a broke kid in high school. How to make money doing nothing. Like I think everyone has like searched how to do that.
Started getting popular at the time and I was like, all right, bet I'm going to try dropshipping. Long story short, my first store doesn't work, but I ended up finding some smaller YouTubers that give me great advice and I start my first dropshipping store, and that store actually turns out and makes me about $35,000 in revenue. So
$35,000 in revenue is not bad at all. I wonder what the profit margin was on that.
I'm like, damn, this is dope. I'm going to do it again. But instead of Instagram influencers, I'm going to do Facebook ads. So I start more stores and I'm running them on Facebook, on Instagram, doing everything that I can, learning as much as I can, and making a lot of money. And I remember like this was the point in time where I was working as a caregiver and also dropshipping and also doing like real estate. And I was like, okay, dropshipping is doing well. I remember like my first $400 day and my first 1K day and my first 2K day. And then eventually I quit caregiving. And then eventually I quit real estate and went full-time into dropshipping.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, if you are able to consistently make 400, 1,000, 2,000 or more per day from the comfort of your home, literally just doing like advertisements, like marketing, right? Why wouldn't you do that, right? Because the time that you save from like showing people houses or like caregiving or all this other extra stuff that you're doing, when you could just literally just like click on a few buttons, have like maybe a meme for an ad or like whatever you're doing for your ad, or like a clip that you pay someone to make of an ad of a product of yours on your store, and you could just literally click a couple buttons and bam, you start in a sense start basically generating money. And you start kind of like looking at this money and start basically thinking like, wait a minute, like I'm able to generate a disgusting amount of money by spending money. And if I'm like using, like, let's just say as an example, like a credit card. So if you're using like a credit card with like, I don't know, like a $10,000 limit, and you are basically able to use that fake $10,000 to generate real $20,000 in revenue, pay off the credit card balance, bring in like $5,000 profit, and you could do that consistently forever. Why wouldn't you do that? Because then you could basically have, in essence, I should say, like a money printing machine, right? Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be like Shopify dropshipping. It could be literally anything. But the point that I'm making, right? Like if you're able to develop a skill where you could literally just put $1 into it and literally make $4 or $5 back consistently, why wouldn't you do something like that?
So I was doing dropshipping for some time, making some good money there, and then I posted my first YouTube video.
What is going on, guys? My name is Sebastian, and today I'm going to show you how I generated...
Oh, wow. So his first YouTube video was back in 2017. Wow. So how I made $700 in one day in second week of Shopify at 18. I mean, that is definitely a clickable video.
$700 in income in one day in only my second week of Shopify.
Because I left a comment on Thaddeus's video and I was like, yo, this video was super helpful. Thank you. I just made like $10,000 because of this. And people were like liking it and being like, yo, who are you? How'd you do this? Because everyone was curious about dropshipping. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I can help some more people. Anyway, I make a YouTube channel and I tell people to come subscribe, and they do. And I start growing on YouTube. So YouTube is growing very like linearly, very slowly. And then I post my first viral video.
Total sales, $991.73. The online store, online store conversion rate 5.42%. Average order value was $24.89. Now that's interesting. Total online store visits 756. That's really good for like the first week and stuff.
How I made $991 in 14 hours. And for some...
So $991 in 14 hours, here's what I did. 575,400 views. Now, I don't know how many views that video has now, but if he had, let's just go with the views on there right now. He probably made like 25 to 30 grand just from that like 500,000 viewed video because of how high the CPMs are on Shopify dropshipping videos, or like basically making money online videos. Like he's probably made, you know what? He's probably has made close to $1 million just from his YouTube ad revenue. I'm just guessing.
For some reason that video popped up. It was ranked #1 for Shopify for a long time. A lot of people saw it and it got like 300,000-400,000 views, and it really like became the backbone of my channel. So I started making money off ad revenue. I started making money off affiliate deals, and then eventually I got the idea to make my first course and teach people like the preliminary stages of how to dropship and everything that I've learned up to this point and put it together in one course for $300.
And he's probably made a good amount of money from that course as well.
So I did that. I remember when I launched the course and I told everyone about it, I was like, it's probably going to get like 10 sales or like 5 sales or something. The first day I launched it, like I launched at 8 p.m. and then I was just driving with my friend, like looking at really cool houses, like just manifesting, which ironically, we were trying to get into the neighborhood that I'm building my house in right now. That's actually crazy. I just realized that. During that night, we were trying to get into that neighborhood and now I literally have a home there. Anyway, I got a sale and then I got another sale and then I got another sale and I ended up making like $1,500 pure profit.
$1,500. Doing basically nothing, which is pretty nice.
So I was like, damn, like this is crazy. I'm making decent money for my age. I was like, this is really cool. I kept on growing my YouTube channel, kept on getting ad revenue, kept on dropshipping, kept on doing everything. And just my income started going more and more and more and more and more. Now, fast forward to about 19 years old. My net worth at this point is about 70 to 80,000. That's
$70,000 to $80,000. I mean, the thing is, he probably has made that alone just from that one Shopify dropshipping video, which is crazy when you think about it.
what I have saved. And this is like where everything in my life starts changing because now I'm making good money and I'm able to like go out and do anything I want and travel and spend money. So naturally what a 19-year-old boy is going to do when you give him money is he's going to buy a GTR. So
Of course.
I bought my dream car, which is a Nissan GTR, and it was like my first trophy, my first like staple of
I think the majority of everyone that again has like played like racing games or like basically any guy under the age of 70 probably has wanted a GTR at least once in their life.
success in my life. I continue to work on my stores. I continue to grow on my YouTube channel and everything was great. And I did this for some time until I like got like 120, 130, 150K in my bank saved up, just continuing to hustle.
That's a good amount of money saved up.
And then I got really comfortable. I was just chill. I was like, okay, well, now what do I do? Fast forward some time because at this point in my life, I was really unhealthy. I was out of shape. I got comfortable. I'm like, I think 21 years old at this time. And I decide after taking a break from dropshipping to get back into dropshipping for real, like to take it more seriously than I ever have, to create a legitimate brand. Now I have funding. Now I have more money to play with. So like I can afford to spend more money on research and development and create like a really good brand. So that's what I do. When you guys saw that video, how I made 36K in a day, those were the stores that I was running at the time. They were generating like $10,000 a day. It was amazing. Like I was making a lot of money from dropshipping. It was really fun and I really enjoyed it. And that was my biggest store to date. At this time, I also took a break from YouTube because I felt a lack of privacy in my life. So I was just focusing on dropshipping. After that unhealthy phase of my life, I started going to the gym and started losing weight and becoming more healthy. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you've probably seen videos of like me like aging in reverse because I was getting healthier and healthier and losing weight.
That is kind of funny. Because, I mean, you'd probably look years younger from just losing a small amount of fat, honestly.
Was that period of my life from like 20 to 21 years old. Now at this point in my life, my net worth was like between a couple $100,000 and $500,000.
That's really good. I mean, to be 20 to 21 years old and basically be worth $500,000 roughly, that's really good because the amount of freedom that you have with that basically in the bank in a sense or like in investments is like freeing, right? Because like you could technically go basically buy whatever you want if you really wanted to buy it. You could go eat basically wherever you want, whenever you really wanted to. You could go to a different state to like see stuff or visit if you wanted to. You could go to a different country if you really wanted to. Technically speaking, you could probably have gone to like a third world country or like someplace like Thailand and basically retired on that money, honestly. Like, that's how crazy this is.
Of some sort. It was somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly. This is another checkpoint in my life. The end of 21 years old. It was cool. It was a good time. And then we all know what happened, but a disease came across the world.
Okay, so that's what the disease was, right? So it is the C. The C, cough, 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 cough.
Lease was up at the house. I broke up with my girlfriend that I was dating for 5 years.
Well, I mean, if she was only your girlfriend for after 5 years, there's definitely something wrong with that relationship because, I mean, probably should have been married before that if you were going to get married. Just saying.
Everything was closed, so I didn't know what to do. So I just moved back to my mom's house and I just lived with my mom and my brothers in her house and I played video games. And I was depressed about my girlfriend and I was just kind of like sitting around with a bunch of money, not doing anything. And eventually I got sick of it, so I decided
I mean, imagine if you had like $500,000 just stacked up inside like your bedroom while you're playing video games. Like, that'd be hilarious.
start a Google Ads agency, which is the 7-figure company that I own now. I started putting a lot of attention into that. And then I got interested in flipping a house. So I was like, I have this money, I'm gonna put some of it down and put it to work. So I bought my first house for $310,000. I renovated it for 3 months with my brother, and then I sold it 5 days after.
So let's see, expenses: buying the house, $309,000, $309,500. The raw materials, $34,060. Total cost of labor, $19,198. Real estate fees, $6,165. So $368,923 in total expenses. The return: selling old stuff, $1,000, and selling the house, $411,000. So a total return of $412,000
for $411.
for a profit of $43,077. And here's the thing: he still probably makes a really good amount of money on YouTube
$1,000.
throughout this whole time.
So that was really fun. I decided it was time to get back into YouTube because YouTube has been a great revenue for me in my life and a great source of friends and network. So I was like, I'm going to get back on YouTube and try to take it really seriously this time. I started going to jiu-jitsu and started going to the gym like really consistently. And I really wanted to improve my health and become like a better man. So this was...
Wow, he's definitely improved a lot in a very short amount of time. That's pretty cool.
was like the molding part of my life when I was like 22. This is like where I turned into a warrior, or like the beginning of my warrior journey. I sold that house, like I mentioned, and I took that check for 127 grand, and I bought a piece of property in that neighborhood that I was driving, or I was trying to get into when I was younger, but that neighborhood that I'm now building my house in. My agency at this point was...
So Digital Wealth MB will outperform your current Google Ads agency, or we pay you $1,000.
Doing amazing. It was growing every single month. We had hired employees. They started running it, and I was able to step out of the business and start growing it. So we went from making 8K a month to making 15 to making 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, and so on. It was just doing great. I started making a lot of money. I started investing in cryptocurrencies. I started trading. I remember during the March crash, I had a massive short position open, and I was up $30,000 on it. And I woke up in the middle of the night, right before everything went like mayhem. And I was like, I had this just intuition to short. Like I was just like, short the market right now, just like be aggressive. And so I like doubled my position size, and I was awake like from 5 a.m. till 6:30 a.m. and I watched everything.
So you made like $75,446 in profit?
Just crumble. And I watched my position go from $30,000 profit to like $75,000 profit.
That's pretty nice.
Like that. And I closed it out, and I was like, damn. I was like, dude, I just made like $40,000 at 6 a.m. I was like, what's going on? I started investing in a bunch of other coins. I turned like a $30,000 investment into 600K. I got really into that world. I bought some new cars. So I bought a Range Rover, and then that was a piece of crap. So I ended up buying a Porsche 911.
Yeah, Range Rovers tend to be pieces of crap. They tend to like break down like all the time.
And I got rid of the GTR because I wanted to change my identity. I wanted to become a new person. At this point in my life, I don't know what my net worth...
Now, personally, if I had a GTR, I probably wouldn't have sold the GTR, personally, for a Porsche.
was, but I was certainly doing very, very well. And I was just like, damn, like life's good. Like at this point, life is just good. And as you make more money, like it's easier to make even more money. It's very exponential. It's very like money compounds. So it was interesting to like be 22, and now I can really do whatever I want to do. This was a very good time in my life when I started to transform. This is the next checkpoint. And then the next phase of my life is the current phase that I'm in. And it's the most exciting phase. So now we are here. My friend got me into NFTs. I started flipping NFTs. I started trading NFTs. I made videos about NFTs. I started advising.
By the way, like the amount that he's probably made from all these different crypto or like NFT videos on YouTube, probably a lot of money has been generated just in like what he's showing right here. Like, because I think the crypto space on YouTube, I think the ad rates are like $30 plus per 1,000 views, right? So on like, so he could easily have made over like $100,000 from just the crypto videos that he's made.
On some projects, I got into the NFT world, and I was continuing in the crypto world, staking, doing all these things. My agency was doing amazing, and I was investing, and it was doing amazing. And it seemed like just everything was doing well. YouTube was growing a lot. I was doing more sponsorships on YouTube, so I'm just making like a lot of money right now. This was like months ago, so this led me directly to where I'm at now, which is I'm 23. I bought my dream car, which is R8. You know,
I do love that R8, but when you also think about it too, like the Audi R8 is also basically like the equivalent of a Lamborghini. Basically almost the same system, pretty much, just different look. But also, then when you really work back, both a Lamborghini and both an Audi R8 are both basically Volkswagens. So, like, part of me is like, wow, you got a Lamborghini, or you got an R8, or you got a Volkswagen Beetle. you know? It's just like a side note. I just think it's kind of funny that they're all basically like linked in some way.
Dropped 176,000 on it, just cash. I bought my truck. I completely funded my entire house. It's completely done and paid for. Now I just have to pay the mortgage. But that whole process has started, and so on and so forth. Now we're here, and it.
Okay, so he didn't completely pay off his house, right? Like, it would have been cool to see him literally have like no expenses in a sense, except for like utilities and like taxes. Because the thing is, yes, he has made like, well, he's worth roughly like $8 million apparently. It would be cool to see someone at this age literally have basically no expenses. And like the way that I view it, right? Because he's so focused on growing his like Google ad business agency sort of thing, right? And his YouTube and all that. Because his cars are paid off, if he were to also pay off his house, he could go so hard into growing his Google ad agency that instead of it being like a 7-figure business, he could easily turn it into like an 8-figure business, right? Because then he has literally nothing to really worry about, right? Because he's probably making way more than enough money from YouTube alone to be able to fund his lifestyle for years. So that being said, he could easily just, in his specific situation, turn his 7-figure ad agency into an 8-figure ad agency. So, like, that's the way that I view it. I always view things where, like, why not, if you have the capability, putting yourself in a situation where you have nothing working against you at all? That's my viewpoint, because like you could literally wake up and just do whatever you want, whenever you want, working on whatever you want, whenever you want, without really ever worrying about your personal expenses at all.
It's, I don't know what the net worth is. Like I said, 8 million in the title. I don't know what it is. It probably fluctuates a lot every single day, but it's between 6 and 8 million. It's something like that, using a higher number because clickbait. So
Okay, well, at least he's honest about the clickbait. So let's go with the lower number of $6 million then.
life's good. We're doing really well, and the future looks extremely promising. I'm very excited. But yeah, that's basically my story, and that's kind of like step by step how I did it. I started a lot of businesses. I tried a lot of things. I tried investing. I failed along the way. I got sued at one point. I got scammed for 30 grand at one point. So many failures in those years, but overall, we kept pushing, we kept persisting, and now we have an amazing trajectory, and I'm super, super excited for the future. And like I said, I'm making this video for new people because my channel right now is growing exponentially. I just want everybody that's new to my channel to, I want to shake their hand and say, hello, my name's Sebastian. This is who I am. This is what I've done. And welcome to my channel. I hope you stick around because I think that I'm going to do some incredible things in my life. And I want to be a source of light, a source of inspiration for anybody that thinks that they can't do it, because I certainly felt the same way. I think that by putting this kind of content out on the internet, I can maybe get through to some people that like think like I do, that have like that feeling that they want to get wealthy and that they're like embarrassed for some reason because they don't have money or they want to fit in, and they feel and they believe like they can do it. If I can get through at least a few people and get them to change their life and they end up making something amazing, that would totally be worth it for me. And I don't want it to seem like I'm bragging about anything. I'm very chill filming this video. I'm just telling you exactly what it is. I don't have a course. I shut that down many years ago. I don't have anything to sell you. If you have a business making $50,000 a month and you need Google ads, please hit me up. We can make some money together there, but I'm not going to make any money off this except for the ad revenue. So it's like, this is just me.
The thing is, he's probably going to make a decent amount from ad revenue just from like the style and type of video that this actually is. But that being said, right, it kind of reminds me of the way that Alex Hormozzi is doing his content now. Kind of the same way that Alex Becker is doing his content now. And look, there's nothing wrong with this. And look, there's not even anything wrong if he were to actually create like some sort of product that he wanted to sell to his audience and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. So overall, I think this was an interesting video. He had an interesting story. I'd personally prefer to see him basically pay off his house in cash and like literally not have to worry about his personal expenses ever for the rest of his life. right? Like that's the way that I view it. Because like imagine just like waking up and like literally owning completely your $3 million house, your supercar, your truck. Basically, your monthly expenses at that point are practically non-existent, right? Like what, you're just paying like utilities, insurance, taxes, your food. Like you're basically not really spending any amount of money. And at that point, probably one YouTube video that he makes, depending on the content that he continues to make, which based off his content, since they are all very high CPM videos, one video could potentially literally pay for his whole lifestyle for a year. Like that's the way that I would view it, right? Like how much time can I save myself or free up for the rest of my life? Like that's the way that I would view it. But still, he's done very, very well for himself, both financially and also health wise. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing to see. And yeah, stay tuned for more financial commentary videos about this. We tend to upload basically every single day of financial commentary. So hit the like button, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, right? Feel free to give your thoughts about his story. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, go to 40unbox.com.